Hmm. Mm, mm, mm. Yo, this is your homegirl, Arabia Barbosa, and I'm on Full Washington County, New York. We are in the motherfucking house. A shout out to the chat. Right now, I'm here by myself, but I know my moderators are watching, and certain people are watching on these YouTube streets. I was just, because I'm off today, I didn't have to work today. Thank God Almighty, I did not have to work today. But I was just in Sister T chat, and she was doing a video about a woman that committed suicide. And my heart goes out to the woman and the woman's family. And Sister T had a very deep conversation going on in the chat. And I appreciate Sister T for doing that video. I appreciate Sister T for having the courage to do it. And I remember around Christmas, it was on Christmas Day, and even a few days before Christmas, that I had a conversation with Sister T. Shout out to Sister T. Shout out to her. She stands alone. She does her own commentary. She does her own content. And I appreciate her so much. But like she said, certain things be happening and things happen in people's lives. And no one is perfect. No one is perfect on earth or anywhere else I know. No one is perfect. And I can understand why she did the video that she did earlier. And I'm gonna say shout out to her. I appreciate her. And it is what it is. A shout out to the chat. Suicide and mental health is a very big issue, especially in the black community. The black community. Not only the black community, but every community in America, all over the world. In certain countries, suicide is acceptable. It's acceptable. Japan, China, Korea, Vietnam, in the Asian countries, it's acceptable to kill yourself if you have not reached a certain quota in your life. In the United States, it's unacceptable. According to certain religious uh, faith systems, suicide is a big sin. It's a big sin. It's bigger than murder. It's bigger than rape. It's bigger than anything. And me personally, I always question myself, what the fuck am I doing here? I've been here for 50 years. What the fuck am I doing here? I was not a planned pregnancy. I was not a planned birth. Both of my parents that had me separated. I went to the fucking foster care system. I sat there for almost 10 years before I got adopted. Even the people that adopted me did not appreciate me. They didn't want me there. They just wanted the money. I'm going to tell you what they wanted. Those adopted people, this is what they wanted. I was their wallet. I was their purse. I was their pocketbook. I was their bank account. I was their debit card. I was the credit card. Me and my siblings that grew up in that house. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. And I met people in my real life, real personal life, people that committed suicide. And you know why they committed suicide? You know why they did? Because they felt they wasn't important. They thought they didn't count. They thought they didn't matter. They thought that everybody was using them or taking advantage of them. And my earliest part of my life, I was taken advantage of. I was used, abused, mistreated, misguided, miseducated. I wanted to go into the military years ago. I was in my early 20s. When I got out of Job Corps, I signed up to go into the military. I signed to go into the Navy. The Navy didn't have no real big spots available, so they said, well, go over here to the Marines. You know why they didn't take me at that particular time? Mental health issues. Mental health issues. I have a mental health record. I got major depression, recurrent. That means I will always be depressed. There will never be a lifting moment as long as I live. I got borderline personality disorder. That means I'm a self-mutilator. I've been self-mutilating myself ever since I was 17 years old. Self-mutilation. You know what that means? That means when you cut open your body, you feel relief of the pain of what the world has bring down on your head, on your shoulder, on your back, in your heart. Tell you something. A few years ago, I was in my darkest moments. And I found relief every time I did self-mutilation. Self-mutilation means burning. It means cutting open the body in certain areas, whether it might be the leg, the thigh, the arms, whatever it is, that's what it is. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. I'm not drinking right now. I'm not drinking. Only have water. So what the fuck you talking about, Sally? It is what it is. A shout out to the chat. But let Sally sit there. Let Sally sit there for a little bit. Sally, can you actually hit my link and cam the fuck up? Can you put the camera on your own self? I don't think so. I'm only talking to my audience. I grew up thinking that certain things was okay. I'm 50 right now. I'll be 51 in March. 51 in March. It is what it is. A shout out to the chat. But thank God for Sister T for doing her video. Thank God that she did that video. Because it tells a lot what's going on in the real world. She don't talk about people on YouTube 24/7. She talk about real life events. Things that actually happen in real life, real time. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. I'm gonna be who I want to be. And Sally, since you worry about my drinking experiences, do you pay for my beers? Do you pay for any of my alcohol drinks that I do drink? When I drink, Sally, do you pay for anything? So don't tell me nothing, bitch. Suck a bag of dicks, motherfucker. Don't come over here with that bullshit. I'm telling my story. I'm telling my life story. So don't nobody take me off my goddamn square. I'm going to be who I want to be. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to talk about whatever I want to talk about. I'm going to say whatever I want to fucking say. 914 Westchester County, New York. We are in the motherfucking house. I go to work tomorrow. Don't you know how many of my coworkers are dead? You know how many of my coworkers died from trying to live their life, trying to be the best they could be, I don't work with those people. All those people that I'm talking about are dead. They're dead. Mr. Robert is dead. Mr. Cuddy is dead. A lot of motherfuckers are dead. You know why they died? Because they were trying to be the best. They were trying to be perfect. When they go on a job, they complete the job. They work hard as hell. They taught me how to work hard as hell. I'm doing it right now. When I go to my jobs, I do the best I can do. But I'm not going to kill myself for nobody. Not no job, not nobody. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, we're going to talk about suicide. We're going to talk about suicide. We're going to talk about self-mutilation. We're going to talk about alcoholism. We're going to talk about sexual addiction. There's a new addiction I got. A new addiction. You know what it is? Check out these numbers. That's a lottery ticket. A lottery ticket. I don't play lotteries like that. I don't. But when I slowed down on the drinking, what did I do? Pick up me a lottery ticket. That's what I do. Or I eat more than usual. Or I work harder than usual. Don't nobody tell me what to do. I am Arabia Barbosa. 914 Westchester County, New York. I am a Cape Verdean American. Cape Verdean American. From the bottom of my Cape Verdean heart, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. My youngest brother just died not too long ago. Not too long ago. My other relatives were murdered in Newport News, Virginia. All the people I truly love are dead and gone. Only a few are left. Only a few. My brother I was raised with, he's here. He got children. They're here. Now the children got children. My brother is now a grandfather. Shout out to him. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. Yeah, Sister T, you hit it right on the head when you talked about suicide. It is unacceptable in this country, but in other countries it's acceptable. If you fail in life, you are allowed to kill yourself. In this country, when you do it, you gotta do it very silent. You can't even say it out loud. You know how many times I said that shit out loud and an ambulance came wherever I was at? Shout out to the chat. When I get mentally broken down and beat up, guess what I do? I get on the bus and I go to the nearest hospital. I don't call an ambulance. I go to the nearest hospital and I stay there for 3 days. 3 days. And if they decide to put me on a mental ward, I go. And guess how long I stay on a mental ward now? 1 week. 1 week. That's enough time to put me on medication. Might be antidepressants, mood stabilizers. A lot of that stuff got vitamins in it. Vitamin C, vitamin D, whatever it is. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, it is what it is. I didn't want to go live right after Sister T, but she was telling some real truth. She was telling some real truth. It is what it is. I'm not on my meds. No, I'm not. I'm never going to be on meds again. Never. If I need to get stabilized, I go to the hospital. I stay for a couple of days. And like I said, when you go to that psychiatric ward, you're only there for what? 1 week. The longest I ever been in a mental institution was 1 month. Shout out to the chat. I went to prison years ago. One of the young women I was on receiving with, the receiving center, right there at the Women's Center, right there on Broad River Road, years ago. When she got released, she didn't go home. She went to the mental hospital right there in West Columbia. That's where she went. When I went there, I didn't even know she was there. When I walked outside to smoke my cigarette, guess where she was at? That woman that I met years ago in prison. She was right there in the mental hospital. She was, and you know what? By the time I got there, she was already there for 9 months, almost a whole year. A whole year. My sister, from my biological mother, my sister got border. She got not borderline personality. She got bipolar 1 and 2. So that means that she hears voices. That means that she sees things that's not there. And you know what she do to drown it out? She put on her music. She puts on her TV. She puts on her computer to drown out the voices. You know how many children my sister has? She has 2 children. 2 children she got to live for. 2 children she got to take to school. 2 children she got to take care of. 2 children. 2. A boy and a girl. Shout out to her. Shout out to her. And she lives for those kids. She lives for those kids. And you know what happened when she got pregnant with my niece? You know what happened? She went to the church. She put a note down there on the altar. You know what she asked God for? To be here, to be living. Not only for her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren. She want to be here to her great-grandchildren get grown and have children. I said, baby girl, you should never ask for that, because you know what? God gonna leave you here by yourself. I'm gonna be gone. The older sister gonna be gone. The brothers are gonna be gone. Some of your nieces and nephews are gonna be gone. You're gonna be here by yourself. You're gonna live to be maybe 200 years old. Shout out to the chat. I don't want to live to be 200. I don't even live to be 60 years old. Because I see what happens. When you don't take care of yourself, everything starts failing. Everything fails. Now, shout out to the chat. Somebody called me. I don't care. Call me later. It takes a lot of nerve to call me in the middle of the goddamn day. Don't nobody call me in the middle of the goddamn day. Don't nobody call me at night. Not after 10 o'clock at night. Shout out to the chat. But let me tell you something. While my channel was down for those weeks that it was down, and I could not do any videos over here on this big channel, you know what I had to do? I had to go on my little channel and talk my shit. But I had to keep my videos short and sweet. Shout out to the chat. I am who I am. I'm going to be who I am. I don't give a fuck what nobody say about me. I don't care what you think about me. Arabia Barbosa is going to be okay at the end of the day. Suicide is considered a sin in the Christian religion. But in other religions and other practice systems, belief systems, suicide is acceptable, especially if you feel like you failed. In a lot of cases in my life, different people around me has committed suicide, especially in the gay community. A lot of my friends are dead and gone. You know why they dead and gone? Because their families didn't accept them. Their families put them out. Do you know how it feels to come out and tell your mother, look, I'm gay, and you're 14 years old, and your mother says that is unacceptable, your father says that is unacceptable, your grandparents are saying that's unacceptable, your aunts are saying that is unacceptable. Ever since I met my biological family at 30 years old, you know what they tell me? Your gay lifestyle is unacceptable. You are unacceptable. But if you would have did your goddamn job, I probably would never became gay. I probably would have never went to prison. I probably would never try to sign up to go into the fucking military. I probably would have went to college like everyone else. Did like everyone else. Put your records on. That's my theme song for this year. Put your records on. Shout out to the chat. You know how that fucking feels? A woman I ain't seen for 28 years tells me it's unacceptable for you to be gay. Unacceptable for your girlfriends to come around. We don't want to see your girlfriends. So what I do, I found me a boyfriend. Unacceptable. They never accepted him neither. Never. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. I don't care. But thank you, Sister T, for doing your video. Thank you for putting it out there. Thank you for the discussion we could have had. We could have had that discussion. And we still will have the discussion as long as I'm here and other people are here. A lot of my friends are dead. Suicide. Ran in front of a car. Some got killed by the police. Some was found in their bathroom. You know what that is? When someone is being found in the bathroom, do you know how long they sat there in their own blood? Because when you die, your bowels release, your bladder releases. You know what kind of smell that is? Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I had a homeboy a couple of years ago. He was gay. Gay as the motherfucking day is long. He was gay. His parents didn't want him to be gay. They wanted him to get married to some young woman. He didn't love the woman. He didn't want to be with the woman. You know what he did? He set his whole house on fire, and he did not try to run out of the house. He killed himself because the family wanted him to marry a woman, and he was gay, and he didn't want to marry her. That was somebody promised to him ever since he was a little boy. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. My grandmother says it's unacceptable, my lifestyle. I will never be accepted. I talk to her sisters. Talk to her sisters. There's one sister in particular, I remember her telling me I was an old maid. I didn't have any children. I was useless. I was not valuable. I wasn't worth anything. You know what I did? I waited 2 days later and I cursed that bitch out. I cursed her out. I cursed out my grandmother not too long ago. Not too long ago. I don't give a fuck. Fuck that bitch. She did the same thing my biological mother did. Much worse. Because she had a lawyer. She could have got custody of me and my brother. She gave up. She gave up because my mother came into the fucking courtroom. You know how that feels when your mother come into the fucking courtroom and shoots down all your chances of a happy life? Do you know how that fucking feels? Do you know how that fucking feels? And since Sally want to worry about if I'm drinking or not, bitch, you don't buy my beers. You don't pay no rent over here. You don't put no money in my fucking pocket, bitch. When I want money, I go into a fucking job, motherfucker. Don't you ever come into my chat again. Because you will be vanished. Don't nobody come in my chat. Well, maybe you need to do. Nah, bitch, maybe you need to mind your own business and stop coming to my fucking chat. Sally. I ain't never saw this Sally before. It probably Brooklyn Lady Ellie, Moonchild. Bitch ass bitch. Yo, that Jabba the Hutt bitch from Brooklyn. Always doing videos about me. I don't say anything. Only thing she doing is bringing people to my channel, bringing people to my platform. That's what she does. That's her job. That's her job. Shout out to the chat. And as Sister T was doing her video, I looked in the chat. Someone came in with gems from Empress Lonnie One Love. Number one, I don't think that was Lonnie in that chat, but if it was, at least she picked up some information, probably to help her own self or her own situation. I don't know what she's going through. Nobody knows what we going through over here on these YouTube streets. And Sister T is not the only talking about these subjects. She's not the only one. And I could see when Sister T get close to the end of her videos, you look how drained she is when she do these deep videos, deep conversation videos. You know how drained she look? You know how depressed she look? You know how sad her voice sounds when she has to do those videos? She does those deep videos because nobody else wants to do them. Ever so often, different women in this sector might do a video like that. But shout out to Sister T for having the courage to stand up and do the video. Shout out to her. Now I'm getting emotional, so I'm going to end this video. I'm going to end it. But shout out to Sister T. Thank you, Sister T, for doing your video. And you're welcome over here anytime. You are welcome here 110%. You're welcome. Anytime you want to come over here, hit the link or just sit in the chat. You are welcome. You know what, Sister T, I wish you was my sister. Like an older sister to me, like older. Like a real sister to me. You know what I mean? Because you give me a lot of strength, you give me a lot of courage. One of my moderators, she calls me and she texts me. And we be having the best time. We don't even talk about this YouTube bullshit. We talk about real life shit. And you know what? I thank God every day for that woman. And I thank God for Sister T. And I thank God for all the women on YouTube, whether I can agree with you or not. I thank God. I thank the universe, and that's all I can say. I'm not perfect. I will never be perfect. I will always be rogue. I will always be the black sheep. I will always be the goat. Arabia Barbosa. Number 4, which is County, New York. We are out of here. I want to thank all my subscribers, my support team, my YouTube creators, the people that write in my chat, my moderators. I thank you. I love you. Shout out to the chat. Let's have a good year. Let's have a good year. Shout out to the chat.